It tries to describe the feeling you have in Sweden when it's dark 22 hours out of 24, and you try to get along with that, and it's not so easy. So you make an album about it just to stay out of the depression. We recorded the album after Christmas in January, like the end of January. We recorded the album and we woke up one day and we felt for some reason that we wanted to do an album. And the past week had been enormously creative week where we just wrote a lot of songs, and it was very fast. After 2 weeks we had the album done. We went on tour the day after, and Björn Olsson, the producer, did the what's called the post production, yeah, while we were on tour.
He's one of few people that we really trust him when it comes to our music. He's a songwriter and he knows a lot about melodies and a lot about how our type of songs should be. And also he was very involved in the autocracy work, but he never finished it. So it was, but it's always been something we wanted to do, an album with Björn Olsson.
Oops.
He's a great character that we like to involve in our music. The whole booklet and stuff like that is it's relatives from all of us, moms and dads and brothers and sisters, uncles. That was the concept for this album.
We wanted to present that in Sweden in the 70s. It was a very special feeling, probably in the whole world during the 70s. And, I don't know what, but people were pretty relaxed at the time. You know, technology hasn't really moved that much, and people were really much into analyzing shit and just playing music and improvising. And to capture that feeling, we had to, well, we could recreate it, or we could just take pictures from the 70s that we had, and that was our parents' pictures. Well, the lyrics are more stressed and dark and a little more nastier than anything we've done. And the album it doesn't have any electric guitar. And there might be, I don't think there's so many yes on this album. If that's what you're asking for, no. Yeah, it's definitely a new direction. I mean, the music scene in the world, the rock scene has looked the same for like 5-6 years now, and nothing has really happened. And that's a long time, you know. Things should evolve in 5-6 years, especially in music. And we feel like we have to take some step, and so we don't really know what step to take, so we just take it. We don't really know what direction it is or anything, but we feel that we have to do something that doesn't remind us of 2002. We must think what Mando Diao has to offer the music world, and we know something that other people don't know, and that's the Swedish tradition and Swedish culture and Swedish history, and to combine that with all the soul music and the jazz music and the rhythm and blues and the rock and roll that we know from America and from England. Well, from America. It's so like to combine that with, put some Swedish, just see it with Swedish eyes. Then Mando Diao becomes an interesting band. If we are try to do exactly what Rolling Stones are doing, then, well, they know best how to do that, you know. So we have to find our own kind of way to present ourselves in the music world.
We always love that, bands that you can really hear where they're from, you know. Beach Boys, you can hear that they're from California.
Velvet Underground, you hear that they're from New York.
You hear that Neil Young is from Canada.
You hear that
Stuff like
Snoop Doggy Dogg is from Compton. You hear that. Well, you hear that Beatles is from Liverpool and that Rolling Stones is from London. And
Are they?
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But you should hear where the music comes from. It's very you should be able to just listen to a song and know exactly the geographical place of the artist, and that's what we're trying to do. Just if you go to Dalarna, you should hear Mando Diao in your head. If you go to Sweden, the minute you cross the border, you should like, oh, this is Mando Diao country, like going to Disney World, with Mando Diao world. Yeah,
Yeah.
a Swedish true
It's
trolls.
a very famous guy in Sweden called Per Olin, who did a lot of animated movies in the 70s in Sweden, really good ones. Some in the 60s, some of our good old favorites, and we asked some guys if they could copy that a little bit and make a video for us.
Forest Stroll Surf in California. That's now when I think of it, that's exactly how the album sounds. If you want to know how Never Seen the Light of Day sounds, just think of a Swedish forest stroll surfing in California. That's the best description. It's the best description of the album. Haha, they can't expect anything really. We don't know. We know that we're gonna do a few shows and they were gonna be massive, and we're gonna put a lot of time and a lot of energy, a lot of money, and we're gonna have a cool light show, and we're gonna have a big landscape, and we're gonna play maybe 1.5 hours, and we're gonna do a real big Mando Diao show. But we're not gonna do that in every fucking town.